There's that. Now, let's do our headphone highlight. Headphone highlights. Okay. We are continuing down our path of the IEMs. Last week, we looked at really great entry-level IEMs, the Tinhifi T2's. They're wonderful, affordable, easy, simple IEMs. They're really cool, and I love them a lot for that. They are extremely pleasing to listen to, very relaxing, and it is really because of the T2's that I have maybe not the complete collection of them, but I have quite a few Tinhifi IEMs. So next up on the docket are these. And these are the Tinhifi. You know what? Before I say it, I need to verify. I'm 90% sure I know what these are, but they're not labeled anywhere on the actual IEM, so it can be a little difficult to tell for sure. Let me just look this up real quickly. Bear with me. Tinhifi. Yes. Oh. Oh. See that? Perfect. That's a good thing I looked it up. I thought that these were the T2 Pros, but they're not the T2 Pros. These are the T3s. Tinhifi T3s. They look very, very similar. There's a little bit of difference in terms of the milling and the construction of the chassis, but it's very, very similar. And that could be a little difficult to decipher them. I mean, hell, I just had a hard time determining if they were the T2 Pros or the T3s. So there is that, but they are different. We can try and get that really in there so you can maybe kind of see them. The light reflection isn't helping much, but yeah, they're still very simple metal housing. IEMs are very small. They have the same cable termination to oh, that's not going to load in. There we go. To a type of cable that I should know, but didn't bother to actually look up because I'm an idiot. But it's a detachable IEM cable, the same one for the T2's. It's good stuff. Good stuff. And just like the T2's, they are color coded. So you got your blue for your left and your red for your right. Very helpful because the actual L and R indicators on the cables are really, really tiny and hard to see. It's good. The cable that these come with. Wow. The cable on the T3s is something else. This is one of the most fantastic cables in almost any headphone. It is just, the camera's not going to do it justice, but this is genuinely like jewelry weaved necklace type of stuff. It's a plastic cable, so it's nice and light, but it has this like gold and silver metallic shimmer to it, and it is so like incredibly soft feeling, and it has this beautiful multi-layer weaving. If I push it together, look at that. See how it kind of spreads apart? Look at all that weaving. You tighten it up, pull it back apart. A little hard to see, but it's a beautiful freaking cable. It's gorgeous. I love this thing. In fact, this is one of my favorite IEM cables that I have yet encountered, and I often will swap this cable in for some other IEMs. Like if I want to listen to a different pair of IEMs, I'll just put aside whatever cable they came with and put this on instead if I can. This is an amazing cable. So, but otherwise, a lot of the construction is very much the same. You got your aluminum housing, depending on your location. And it's a beautiful cable, and they're very simple. They're very light, very similar to the regular T2s. Again, there's not much to talk to about comfort. I will mention that the nubs I have on here, uh the nubs, whatever. The ear tips. These are Dakoni, not nuggets. Bullets. They're called Dakoni bullets. So Dakoni, who we've heard that name before, they make, really wonderful headphone pads, ear pads. They also make these little nuggets for your IAMs, and they're pretty nice. They're not really memory foam, which is a little strange, because often, that's the standard. But yeah, it's a very, very dense memory foam. I don't even know if I can call it memory foam, because it doesn't really, slow move back to form. It's just kind of a foam tip. And you get lots of good sizes. And I found that for what was most comfortable for me was the smallest tip, which is surprising for me. I wasn't expecting that. So they're good. The Coney bullet tips are very good. They're different, and a heck of a lot easier to get in and out of your ears than the really slow moving memory foam tips. It might not. No, I'm just gonna say it still creates a really good seal. You just gotta kind of really cram it in there, but they're great. That's all I can really say about the comfort, because as we've discussed, comfort is an incredibly subjective thing when it comes to IAMs. So, the sound. They are definitely different sounding from the T2s. I opted not to go with the T2 Pros, because the T2 Pros, from what I've heard about them, didn't do enough things different to warrant purchasing them against the T2s. Whereas the T3s kind of took the direction that the T2 Pros were going, but went further with it. And what the result is, these are a lot more intense sounding than the T2s. You get a lot more, I'm going to say you get quite a bit more detail, particularly in the high end. The treble range is very responsive and very crisp. It's also quite speedy, pretty fast. It's not as warm and mid-range focus as the T2s are. You still got a pretty good amount of low end, but it feels a lot more controlled, a lot more nuanced than the T2s. The T2s, compared to these, sound a bit bloated. So these are more mature sounding IAMs compared to the T2s. You might even say they're aiming towards a more analytical sound signature, which is great and cool. But if we're being honest, between the two, I will probably still choose the T2s more often than I will the T3s, just because the T2s have a bit more of a pleasant, relaxing sound. But that does not mean that I can't appreciate what these are doing. These do change the sound signature enough to warrant the upgrade. I'm using quotes because whether or not you consider this an upgrade is going to depend on how you feel about the T2s, because they don't sound the same at all. I mean, okay, there's a similar flavor there. There's like a Tinhifi flavor going on, but these are quite different. So they're really nice. They're great. They sound good. They sound really good, actually. And I was jamming out to them pretty good for a while till the ears started hurting. So Tinhifi T3s, they're great. They're amazing. They're a much more detailed and analytical version of your T2s. So if you want that, this is a worthwhile upgrade. So yeah, there you go. And there's your headphone highlight for the T3s. Nice and quick and easy. These things go really, really quick when there's not like a lot of build variants to talk about or a lot of comfort variants to talk about. These go really quick. So, but man, the cable on this, dude. Cable on this is, oh, I love it. I love this cable so much. And I guess I should finish off with price. The T2's are right now selling for about $60. I think I got mine for like more like 20 or $30. It looks like they're averaging out at 60. The T3's here are averaging out at about 70. So there is a bit of a premium added on to the T3's. So that's why you have to consider whether or not this is an upgrade for you or not. But there you go. Okay, let's get back to the game.